Hey guys, this is different. This is gonna be different. This is basically gonna be my review of Star Wars: The Last Jedi. But usually, what I'll do is I'll prepare a script and just kind of let my thoughts marinate over maybe a weekend or a couple days about a movie I've just seen, and kind of put together a thing, like something that's more like me speaking more or trying to enunciate better or whatever, or edit it, just something that's clearer and concise. But with this movie, I just didn't feel like doing that this time. And just for preference, I'm gonna try to keep this video short. I don't want to force you guys to have to listen to me for like 10 minutes, 14 minutes, 20 minutes even of just talking about this movie, because one, you're either you already seen it and you have your opinion about it, or two, if you're watching this review, you want to go see it and you're looking to see why you should go see it. So, and this is gonna be full spoilers, just because it's Star Wars. Like, if you haven't seen it, you're gonna go see it. If you are still on the fence, there's nothing, I feel like, honestly, even in this movie that's shocking or spoilery-rific, to even warrant a spoiler warning, in my opinion. It's nothing that, so just right off the bat, I want to talk about the fact that I think this movie is not bad. If I were to give like a boilerplate one-word review, I'd say great. This movie's great. This movie has problems, but overall, the problems don't take away from the experience. The problems don't take away from the enjoyment. The problems don't take away from just the cool stuff that happens in this movie. So at the end of the day, this movie has that going for it, but it does have problems. And a lot of the problems, it's not just me who thinks this, but of the friends that I've talked to, people I've talked to, it really comes down to pacing. This movie has a pacing issue, and it's tough because you want to say they should have cut here and done all these things here, but a lot of the things are interweaved together. So I definitely would have seen how it would have made it tough for them to cut a lot of stuff, because there's just so much stuff that's all wrapped up in one nice little bow for the ending and for the final battle and for the final scenes and all that kind of stuff. So I could see how they may have gotten, the pacing a little rough there, because they were trying to set this thing up and set all this stuff up. So right off the bat, I want to say that the characters in this movie are interesting. I feel like, even though I'm just going to start from the top. I'm going to start with Poe. I feel like Poe in this movie, Poe Dameron, had the greatest character arc, honestly, in a Star Wars movie other than the originals. Obviously, those are always going to be held in high regard, but I felt like for this new trilogy, this movie gave him a really cool arc. You got to see him be a hotshot pilot and feel vindicated in what he was doing, then be demoted, and then be replaced. Essentially, he essentially would have been the next in line to succeed Leia after she, what happens to her in this film, but is replaced by another general or whatever. And you see that all in all, that even though certain things which I'll get into that are dumb happen with him and the person that's in authority over him, he learns the lesson from that person that you can't just fly into every situation and just sacrifice your life and just give everything for one thing just because that's the cool thing to do, and I love that he at the end of this movie just learns that no, fighting is fighting, we have to fight for another day. Fighting, we got to be smart about how we take these people on. And I think that's really the cool thing, the cool takeaway from this movie. I felt like Kylo Ren had an amazing arc as well. I feel like it's right there with Poe, in my opinion, on what it kind of put together was, that he went from an apprentice who failed to now basically the leader of the galaxy, leader of the first order, so that's very cool to see him kind of step outside of, he's like, I'm done with this, I'm blazing my own path, I'm gonna make my own way, or you're with me or you're not, or against me. So I love that. I felt like Rey and Finn in this movie basically were kind of not, I felt like I didn't see any character growth or development. I felt like Rey was the exact same she was at the end of The Force Awakens, and I think they really wanted that to be a thing. I don't feel like she learned anything from her connection to Kylo in this movie or from her connection to Luke. I felt like she was weaker in this movie than she was in the last movie. Finn going off with Rose and trying to succeed, I felt like I saw nothing. The only thing I could see as far as character development or an arc is that he beat his demon in the face, literally in the fact of fighting Captain Phasma and doing that. So, but other than that, I didn't see any real development. They pushed this subplot of him and Rose maybe having something, but I really hope that that's not a thing. So there's that. I felt like Luke was great in this movie. He was basically himself. He was Mark Hamill from 1970 or whatever, but old and gritty, and still, the way he pronounced or the way he gave away his lines and everything was just so awesome to me. I don't know why. It was very Luke, but still like, I'm bitter, I'm angry, I'm ashamed, all this stuff. So I love that. Snoke was great. All these characters, everyone was great. So the things I liked about this movie is that it opens up the world in really interesting ways. Like with the only thing that I really did enjoy about the Canto Bight scene was, you get to kind of see that there's this profiteering going on. If people are this rich because of war that's been going on for like 60 years, and I don't know why that really makes my mind go like, whoa, like the Star Wars universe is kind of cooler than I even thought before. Like you just have this simple thing of good versus evil, but who's been profiting off the good and evil, and I kind of love that. And I'm almost like, a part of me believes that there's a good movie there. Just how do you put all that stuff on screen? Like almost I want a movie about the guys who, the arms dealer who's selling stuff to both sides. I would love to see like maybe an American made kind of movie, but with Star Wars. I don't know how they would do that. Maybe the Han Solo movie will be that, but we'll see. I definitely enjoyed a lot of the cool scenes, a lot of battles and things like that. And like I said, this is very freeform. I don't have notes. I don't have anything in front of me. So I'm just trying to go off the cuff of my head, or top of my head, cuff of my head. I don't even know what that means. But the top of my head, and just kind of talk about some of the things that I could just get out, because I feel like writing a script for this movie would not do it justice. To just write a script and read it and kind of put footage behind it, I just feel like it wouldn't do it any justice, because there's a lot to talk about, and I'm already looking at what I'm recording on, and it's already at 8 minutes, and that's crazy to me. So I'll do my best to kind of condense, but I want to get to what I don't like about this movie. Like I said, I already said the pacing is an issue. The pacing is an issue, and I feel like the pacing is not an issue just because they go to a casino and blah, 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 or they have this plan and it doesn't work out, or somehow the ships are not close enough to kill the rebellion or whatever. It's the resistance. That's fine. I mean, the through line of this movie is very weak. The base storyline of the resistance is running from a fleet, and somehow they are not being dead because they are just outside of range, and somehow the ship can't get closer. I don't know why, or somehow they can't use transports till later, or somehow it's all these things of just make you go like, why now? Or like, just, because the plot has moved, now we must do this. So that's the kind of stuff I just didn't enjoy. I was just like, there's all this conceit because your plot is weak, and it's like, I feel like your through line plot could have been a way stronger. I was talking to someone who said, oh man, it would have been really cool had they jumped to a planet and it just been a movie where they were fighting maybe this guerrilla warfare while they were working on a plan, or what, or maybe they even had like a Lord of the Rings type moment where, this last battle on Crate could have been the Helm's helms deep of the Star Wars series. You know, this could have been the last hurrah. They just jumped there and they knew that the First Order would find them eventually, so they had to figure out what their plan was or whatever. And maybe that's when Finn and Rose go to seek help from other people. But so that's an issue. But I feel like the pacing is not just a matter of cutting, but it's more of a matter of there's things in this movie that could have been shown to us and replaced with other scenes. Like, for instance, I feel like the whole thing with Luke and Kylo, instead of just them telling us both sides of the same story, you know, even with the fact of having this Looney Tune-esque Luke in Kylo's vision, this just evil-looking Luke in his, show us more of the progression of that. Maybe even start the movie out there. We know that The Force Awakens ends on this cliff, and we know we can guess of how that's going to happen, but maybe start the movie there. You know, like I said, I love the first 5-10 minutes of this movie. It's like it has the worthiness of being a climax of any other Star Wars movie, yet you start your movie here. I love that. But maybe get more intimate, you know, show us the relationship between Luke and Kylo so that we can see that reflection in Kylo and Rey, you know, and on both sides. And just getting down to the nitty gritty of maybe, you know what, Luke, if you're not going to help me, you know, point me in the direction of someone who's going to help me and train me or blah, blah, blah. You know, let Rey get in tune with these Force ghosts. Let her meet Yoda. You know, let's see these intimate moments that we don't really ever get to see. We're just told that I tried to kill Kylo Ren, or this happened, or blah, blah, blah. Now your minds are, you know, we just are told all these different things for really reasons that I feel like could have been shown. You know, they always say show, don't tell. And I feel like this movie is 50% show and 50% tell. You know, there's a lot of scenes of exposition and things like that where I'm just like, you know, you could have showed us that. You could have given us more insight into, and that's my problem kind of with The Force Awakens in some ways. It's like they don't show a ton of that in that movie, but, you know, they just kind of tell you some things, you know, they just expect you to just realize it and be okay with it, you know. So in regards to the movies in this trilogy so far, they've just been so rushed and no backstory and things that you have to just kind of give conceit, like, you know, the First Order just reigns now, and we're just like, okay, well, why do they reign? They just, even though they blow up the whole Senate or whatever Galactic Republic, they lost tons and tons of resources when their weapon exploded. That's the same thing that happened with the Death Star. I mean, like, what, you know, if they're trying to go for an Empire Strikes Back type thing, where this galactic thing reigns, like, give us some more backstory. Maybe they've been pulling in some of these people to finance them or whatever, you know, like, just, it's like they explain things that happen, but they don't ever give the reason for why, or, you know, how. Like, it's like if you're gonna bring money or the economy of the things into this world, okay, how do they get that money? How do they, you know, like, now you're forcing me to ask the question of how they got that stuff. So, man, I mean, 13 minutes is crazy. Okay, this review is long and it's gonna be long. So, but yeah, I that's some of the problems. DJ is a huge problem for me. Like, I did not like that character. I did not like his stutter. I did not like his, you know, it was clear off the bat that this character was going to betray them. You know, even the characters knew that they were going to get betrayed, but then they just accepted the help because that was the only thing they had, I guess. So that was the conceit there. And, you know, I would have loved to see Finn as someone who's already kind of, you know, deceived people before, maybe see through that. I don't know. So just as, I mean, I feel like everything in this movie is very surface level. There's so much beautiful cinematography in this movie. It's probably one of the prettiest looking Star Wars movie there has to be out there. Like, it just looks beautiful. The dialogue is great, everything's great, but it's like the more you dig deeper, like, even with like for a prime example, like when you think of the light speed thing, which I feel like is maybe one of the coolest things to happen in sci-fi history ever. Like, you just never think of an actual ship cutting through all of these ships to do this. That concept has never been even thought of in Star Wars. With that happening, like, maybe when you dig deeper into that, like, but why? Like, why did she have to kill herself? Why did so many people have to die in this movie? Like, why was it such a self-sacrificing movie for them only at the end to just still be running? And maybe that was because they're trying to, this movie was trying to just be a different Star Wars movie. It was just trying to be, so much away from everything and subvert expectations and blah, blah, blah and all this. But, do we need a Star Wars movie to subvert expectations, especially when we're getting Star Wars a movie every year almost for the rest of our lives, pretty much? Like, for the rest of this generation, like, until they just aren't making money anymore, we're gonna get a Star Wars movie. So it's like, you can give us genre shaking crazy movies in the other ones, but I feel like these movies, they need a simple plot, they need a simple structure, and they need simple character arcs, and they need hope at the end. And I feel like, even though this movie does set up the fact that, we got away, we escaped, even though help's not coming, we'll figure it out kind of attitude, this movie is very cynical, and it makes you feel divisive, because parts of me feel for Kylo Ren, because you have a master, you have someone in the form of Luke who's very, very poorly executed his execution. Honestly, like, I felt like that whole scene was very, very weird to me. I felt like, even though you could sense darkness in this person, why would you just go in with your lightsaber lit and then just be surprised that someone, is trying to defend themselves? Like, if you're going to kill somebody, I feel like you don't just go in thinking you're going to do it and then not do it. Like, you're going to plan out your process, especially as a Jedi. Like, and that's one thing I didn't like either. It's just like, you're supposed to be this master Jedi, and you failed to kill Kylo. You could have easily force choked the mess out of him, stopped him from doing it, but that was the whole conceit of his shame and all that, and I get that. But I feel like this movie is cool, but the more you think about it, the more you start, like any other movie that's like this, where it's so cool, there's cool things, but when you start to get into the nitty gritty of it, you're just like, that bothers me. I don't know, it irks me. There are things in this movie that just straight up irk me, even though it shouldn't, so I don't know. This is new. This is different. This is something I've never done, and I don't know if it'll be something I ever do again, but I felt like I just really couldn't just write a script for this, and I'm sure there's tons and tons of more stuff that I might even talk about in an actual video, just my gripes or whatever, or things that, everything that's wrong with this movie type video. I don't know. We'll see. But I just want to put a review out there, one, period. But two, I want to put a review like this out there to see if you guys even want something like this too, of the 38 people of the small, I'm a small channel. I want to grow. I want to be a huge influencer YouTuber. I mean, I don't know if I want that, but I would love to just have a community of people who are interested in my content, who want to dialogue with me about stuff. And that's what I'm persisting on doing. Also, I put a video out there about Rey, not, why she feels like a Mary Sue, which you can watch here. But now this movie has changed my mind. This movie has changed my mind. I would have never thought she was a Mary Sue before. I was just like, oh, The Force Awakens sets her up to be that. No, this, you can't have a movie where she can just do stuff. You can't. You gotta give us something. Like, give us some training. Give us some. She wields a lightsaber like she's been doing it for 50 years. Like, you gotta give us something, man. She's too good. So, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this movie, about life. I putting something out there that's different. So, please like and subscribe for future content. This is how I really talk in real life. So, hopefully you like it. All right. Bye, guys.